only person who had the opportunity, the only one who had a motive.
Mm-hmm.
Well?
Not to speak ill of the dead, Captain, and although Arthur Hines was my law partner, it's unfortunately true that quite a number of people at least thought they had a motive.
Sure, so maybe this ex-con Harry Marvin had a motive. Maybe even the dame on the switchboard had a motive for all I know. But they couldn't have done it. 50 people saw them together downstairs in the lobby of the building at the time the murder was committed.
Oh, you've talked to him, have you?
Sure, so what? Listen, this kid admits he had a quarrel with Hines. He always hated him anyway. He admits he hit him. So he picks the paperweight off the desk and smashes him over the head.
Wait a minute. You didn't say anything about that, Robert.
No, I didn't even know about it before. I didn't hit him with a paperweight.
Stop it, will you? The back of the man's head is bashed in with that paperweight. This kid's fingerprints are all over it. What's so funny? This is murder, mister.
I'm sorry, but you'll find out if you ever try to bring this boy to trial for killing Arthur Hines with a paperweight.
Listen, Krager, I know you're pretty smart, and I know you go around bragging about you never lost a case.
And that goes for this one. Double.
But you're not going to make a chump out of me. This boy's going to be indicted for murder. He's going to be convicted of murder. And he's going to burn for murder.
Indicted, convicted, burned. 3 promises. And the first one's already happened. The second one, well, even I can see we don't stand much chance. And the third one, well, I just try not to think about it. There is Mr. Krager, up before that jury, acting as though it was an absolute certainty that I'd be cleared, pleading for me as though I were the only guy in the world. Because, well, that's the kind of a man he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my firm conviction that when you've heard this boy's story from his own lips, and when through it you have in some measure, as I have in large measure, gained insight into the depth and integrity of his character and spirit, you will also believe him innocent. He is innocent. Now, Robert, I'll ask you to take the stand.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Now, Robert, just for the record, will you tell the court your full name?
Robert Loring Tasker.
Your age?
24.
Your mother and father are dead. You have no living relatives.
No. No one.
Now, before you begin your story, there are 1 or 2 extremely important points that I particularly wish to emphasize to the court. Now, tell me, Robert, how long was it between the time you quarreled with Mr. Hines and the time you went back into his office and found him dead?
Not long. 6 or 7 minutes, perhaps.
But it was long enough for someone to have entered Mr. Hines' office by the back entrance, struck him, and left again, was it not?
Yes, it was long enough for that to have happened.
Now, concerning this famous paperweight the prosecution has talked about so much, I have it here. Do you recognize it?
Yes, it was always on Mr. Hines' desk.
Now, when you went into his office at my order to look for certain papers, you touched this paperweight, did you not?
Yes, I touched just about everything on the desk.
Exactly. In other words, your fingerprints would be found not only on this paperweight, but on practically everything else in the room.
Yes, they would.
In due course, Your Honor, we shall demonstrate that such is, in fact, precisely the case. Now, Robert, when Mr. Hines found you in his room, he was irate and highly suspicious, was he not?
Yes, he was.
In fact, he even suspected that there was some plot against him, involving Peggy, the switchboard girl, and a client of his named Harry Marvin.
Yes, he did.
You denied this, saying that, in fact, they were brother and sister.
Yes, That's right. How was that again?
I say you denied the charge of a plot, saying that Peggy and Harry Marvin were brother and sister. And then Mr.
Your
Hines
Honor.
went so far as to...
Your Honor.
Yes?
Your Honor, there's something I've just thought of, some new evidence. I'd like a few minutes alone with my lawyer, please.
Well, if counsel has no objection.
Robert, what is it?
It's just something that I think I ought to tell you in private.
Very well. Your Honor, please, then.
By all means. Perhaps you would like to use my chamber.
Thank you, Your Honor. Come along, Robert. Well, you didn't have to lock the door, Robert.
Well, I want it to be private.
All right, but Robert, you mustn't worry like this. Let me do the worrying. They can't convict you if there's a reasonable doubt. That's the law, and there is a reasonable doubt. Someone did come in and hit Hines in those 6 or 7 minutes. It must have been that way.
Yeah, I know.
Of course you do. We've been over the whole thing. Now let's go back into that courtroom and continue.
Mr. Krieger, there's something I haven't told you.
Something you haven't told me. What?
Oh, it's a little thing, but it's kind of important. Because it's something I never told anyone.
Well, what is it?
I never told anyone that Peggy was Harry Marvin's sister, except Mr. Hines by mistake, and he's dead.
Now, Robert, don't you think that's a little trivial to be bringing...
No, because you know about it. You just said so in the courtroom.
Well,
There's only one way you could have found out. You must have been in your office when I had the fight with Hines and heard me tell him.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, no, it isn't. Because you're right. Somebody did come in those 6 or 7 minutes and kill Hines. You did.
Well, you're crazy.
Must have been for that $50,000. You hijacked the hijacker. And you knew they'd pin it on me with my record. Maybe that's why you got me out of the pen in the first place. It is, isn't it?
I'm not going to stay here and listen to any such nonsense.
Oh, yes, you are. Because I'm going to get that truth out of you now. You planned it that way, didn't you? You sent me into Hines' office that day, and you probably sent him, and you figured you were such a hot lawyer that you might even get me off for 20 years or so to ease your dirty conscience, didn't you? Talk, Krieger!
Don't get anywhere using violence with me.
No, talk!
No. Now, wait a minute. Even if I did confess, it wouldn't hold up as evidence.
Talk!
Don't. Listen. We postpone the trial. I can get you out of the country. I'll give you money.
That's all I wanted to know. Now, come on, you talk! Get
Get
going! Talk! What are you doing? What is the court? We didn't find you. Right? You're killing Hines right now.
Yes, I did it. I killed him, but...
Okay, I guess they're going to lock that door now.
What's going on in here?
Grab him! He's crazy! He attacked me!
So I gather.
He accused me of murder.
Yes, I heard him. Tell me, Krieger, where were you when this boy phoned you here at court, when they couldn't find you?
Why, matter of fact, I was right here, right in this very room. Some work to do. I wanted... Your court was in recess. You were out of town.
Yes, I know. But there's something you don't know.
What?
On the day of the murder, the floor of this room was being repainted. And the paint, Mr. Krieger, was quite wet.
Your Honor, the defense rests.
And so closes The Defense Rests, starring Alan Ladd, tonight's tale of Suspense. Alan Ladd appeared through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, producers of Lady in the Dark. John McIntyre played lawyer Max Krieger. Before Mr. Ladd returns to our microphone, here is a definition of yourself that may interest you.
Connoisseur, one competent to act as a critical judge of an art or in a matter of taste. That's what Webster says. So that makes you a wine connoisseur, because certainly you are competent to act as a critical judge of a wine's taste. Matter of fact, all you have to know to be a true wine connoisseur in the opinion of your friends and guests is a single word, Roma, R-O-M-A. To get the proof, make your own taste test of the tangy, appetizing Roma Sherry, the hearty, satisfying Roma Burgundy, the heavier, sweeter Roma Port, or any of the many different delicious Roma California wines. If your favorite dealer is temporarily out of the kind of Roma wine you prefer, ask for it again, please. Just be sure to say R-O-M-A, Roma Wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
This is Alan Ladd. It was a pleasure to make another appearance on this program, which is a great favorite of mine. Next week, they tell me Laird Krieger will be your star. And I know you'll want to be listening, as I will. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Ladd. Suspense is produced and directed by William Spear. Tonight's play was written by Roland Brown and Robert L. Richards. Don't forget, then, next Monday for Laird Krieger in Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.